Welcome to NASPA Tonight. I'm your host, Josh Greenway, and this is a show where we talk about all things Scrabble. We have a very special guest tonight. You may or may not remember this gentleman. His name is Jackson Smylie. He used to appear on this show on occasion. So we're expecting him to call in any minute. And to get ready for that, I will bring up our traditional lower third here, getting ready for it. And I think here comes Jackson now.
Hello, welcome to NASPA Tonight.
An in-person appearance. Jackson, how are you?
I am doing great. How about you, Josh?
Good. So you used to appear on this show, is that correct?
I don't know. It's been so long. I don't really remember it very clearly. But
you're
that's
telling
the rumor,
me.
Yeah.
You're telling me it has been a long time. We think the last time you appeared was sometime in January.
I know. I have no idea. Sometime around New Orleans. I just got so blackout drunk in New Orleans. Don't remember anything after that.
So, what have you been up to since January?
So I've been playing some Scrabble.
Yes.
I've been doing some school, traveling some. I was just in New York. School? I do occasionally when I'm not playing Scrabble, obviously.
Right.
I just got back.
This is high school?
Yeah, I mean, getting there. So I just got back from Philadelphia.
Yes, we're going to talk about
American
that.
School Scrabble Championship. I was not participating. I was not competing. Doing commentary, and it was a great experience.
Very good. So we're going to dive deep into that, but what we're going to do first is we're going to cover a few headlines from the past week. Are you all right with that?
Just like the olden days. I remember how this goes.
Just like the olden days. So the first thing that I want to talk about is last week we had a very special show. Annette Tedesco, as those of you watching, we did a tribute episode. If you haven't seen that episode, I would suggest you go to YouTube. You can find that by going to YouTube and searching NASPA Scrabble. You'll find the channel. You'll find the episode there. So what I wanted to talk about was just remind everybody that one of the things that we're doing, obviously, you may or may not have heard that Kieran O'Connor and I are working to continue Annette's legacy. We're working on the July 4th tournament, and then we'll be turning our attention to Lake George and New Year's and on and on. But we're running a GoFundMe. So if you have enjoyed time at Annette's tournaments in the past, consider donating to that. What we're raising money for is some of Annette's outstanding, there are the kind of funeral expenses, medical expenses, and then some expenses associated with her running of the tournament. So I would really encourage you, if you loved Annette, like most people did, certainly I did, to consider donating to that. Okay, that's the first headline that I wanted to talk about. The second one, and this is a topic that is near and dear to both of our hearts. You'll remember from, I think, on our very first show, we talked about advisory board elections. This was like a year ago.
We did, because I was unopposed when I was running.
You were running
and you had a really
unopposed.
good time mentioning that every time you could, but still, the victory felt as good as it would have.
So the way this works is these advisory board elections run every 2 years. So you have a year left on your term, but I have to run in one of these elections again.
I see. So you're up now.
I know. And I run in the seat that is at large. So I represent, for better or for worse, the entire player base, right? I'm not defined to one geographical region. So there are usually quite a number of competitors in there. And so I'll be running again this year. I've got to put together my platform statement and stuff like that.
And how about your campaign? Are you doing anything official with that again?
Well, I don't know what you mean by official, but I will be running a campaign.
I've enjoyed your campaigns in the past, and I think that is your strongest suit when you're running.
Well, that's true. I was actually telling this story the other day, is that before these Scrabble elections, I ran in 2 elections in my life. I ran for student council twice when I was in high school. This is a long time ago. I rode a horse to school and rode on a chalkboard. Or we didn't have paper. We wrote on bark with chalk. But so I ran in 2 elections and I won one of them and lost the other. And I made a commitment at that time that I was going to try my best not to lose another election. I didn't really expect to be in more elections. But now to hold this role on the advisory board, I'm now back into this electioneering mode. Okay. Well, I haven't started yet.
So are the polls open? Like, can people still run yet?
We're in the nomination period. Okay, so what I wanted to tell people about is if you think the places where there are elections this year, and we've got this up on screen, it's in really small writing, but this was in the last episode of NASPA News, or last issue of NASPA News. Everything's an episode, right? So U.S. South, U.S. West, and at large. So, and those seats are currently held, well, one of them is by me, one of them is by Mike Willis, and one of them is, who's our elected U.S. West representative? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Maybe Bruce Ambrosio?
Maybe, although, anyway, it doesn't matter. Here's the point. If you know someone who you think would do a good job representing players in Scrabble, this is your chance to nominate them. You can also nominate yourself. And what they talk about here is that basically any NASPA player who's in good standing, and I noticed this today, it says who is at least 21 years old.
I know. And you'll notice I'm now 21. I was 20.
You weren't 21 when you got the seat.
Yeah, so I actually had no idea this was a rule. I had never heard of this 21 business. And then I got a bunch of emails, like 4 emails in one day saying like, hey, Jackson, we realize you're 20 years old. You can't be running. And like I got special permission. I think Judy Cole, shout out to Judy.
Judy's amazing.
I know, giving me special permission as a young 20-year-old who had no idea how to help out with anything. They took a chance. And
well, as I've said many times, this is another group of adults that you've managed to convince, trick, something like that you are more mature than you actually are.
I know. And keep it up, Josh. I don't want people finding out.
Okay, so that's the key to this. How have you found the 1 year that you've been on the advisory board?
It's been good. I mean, part of why I wanted to be on is because I've heard of a lot of my friends that have been on the advisory board. They've had a lot to say about it. Yep. And instead of just going along with what they said, I wanted to see for myself. And so far, some of that has been corroborated by my experience. Some of it is not. Overall, it's been successful, and it's really nice to just see what's going on in the inner workings of NASPA. And overall, it's positive. But obviously, I mean, it is what it is. You only have so much control. Sometimes you think you have more control than you do. But yeah, if anyone's thinking about running, you should. Like it's
yeah, fine. No, it's an eye-opening experience for sure. And you've been to most of the meetings, right?
Yeah, I missed a couple.
So
just a couple.
Well, to be fair, this year I actually missed one for the first time. So the other thing, what I find interesting about it is you get this close working relationship with the executive committee, which is Chris, John, and Rich Baker, and building up some trust with those guys. That's allowed me in particular with some of the social media work that I do and some other things to, secure approval and sometimes funding for different kinds of projects. So that's one of the things that I found rewarding better. Anyway, advisory board, if you know someone who would be a good candidate, I would suggest that you nominate them. Check out NASPA News to find that. Now, let's talk about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? So let's bring up this picture. What's happening in this picture?
I mean, what's happening here is I'm realizing that I need to get a haircut and I'm in Philly and I can't do it. But we were on a team. I mean, Josh Sokol is not pictured here, but Correct. He was on the commentary team as well. We were providing live commentary on the Scrabble stream for both the high school division and the championship division from 4th to 8th grade.
And this was kind of your first sort of certainly your first paid commentary gig. Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Because you did some commentary, certainly for Alchemist Cup. You called in from Canada.
In New Orleans a couple times.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah, this was the first like official paid commentary gig, which was really fun. It's really cool, like the setup they have, just to see the extent that streaming can reach. And it was all like very professional and good.
I noticed. This is the outfit that you decided on, right?
It is. I know. I'm glad that Will didn't go one notch more professional, because that would have made me look really weird. But I think he had actually a suit jacket, but out of like solidarity with Josh and I, he decided not to wear it.
No, I hear you. 21-year-old doesn't need to be wearing a suit jacket, I don't think. So I think that's good. So tell us about what your experience was like, because we'll also talk about the fact that you did play in this event in the past. So what was it like to be there?
Well,
Did people know that you had played in it
that's
before?
the thing. Most people knew that I had played in this event before. It was in fact 8 years ago as well as 9 years ago. So it's like, it's in a way fresh enough that like it's not in the distant past. People still associate me with that event to a large extent. So for me, a lot of it was comparing the experience as a staff member to what it was like as a player. So as a player, this is like nationals for us as adult players. It was like the most exciting thing ever as a player, is just to see this entire tournament that is like the most intense thing you've ever experienced. Then as a staff, it kind of felt like I was able to relive that again, especially following all these teams that I know personally. It was just great being able to like kind of like relive that whole experience. And commentary wise, very interesting. I find doing live commentary, it's a whole new challenge, just being like aware of how you're speaking, and also the games themselves. Like you have to be able to adapt to different levels of play, because on this stream you see more levels, like more variation in the level of play than you'll see anywhere. And so you have to be able to like adapt to seeing like honestly a horrific blunder and being able to not just say like that was terrible. And
that's what I thought was interesting, because I remember I certainly spoke with Josh Jr. before the event and was saying like, how are you guys going to prepare? Because it's a different level of play than commentating, say, in Division I at the North American Scrabble Championship. But I think from what I was able to see, I really enjoyed yours and Josh's performance. Certainly, I'm a big fan of Will's, and Kevin always does a great job. But I think you guys were surprised by the level of play. Was that accurate?
It was. I mean, when I played this event 8 years ago, I can guarantee the level of play was nowhere near what it was here. Not only was the overall level of play better, it was more just that the level of analysis by the players was obviously at a higher notch than it's ever been, which really makes your job as a commentator easier, because you can tell these plays are informed by some serious thinking by the players, and it just really makes it more interesting rather than just commentating on the same boring things every time. There's like so many things happening. And yeah, we were overall very impressed. The games were really close as well, which is very good. And yeah, it was just really fun just to see, just to be able to react to these different levels. Because I don't know if you remember, but Jem Birch played Kalisaya. Yeah, that was like the whole word of the tournament, mostly because of his expression as well. Like when he saw Kalisaya, his face just lit up, and it was the most amazing thing to watch. Because when you see Division I nationals for adult Scrabble, everyone's sitting there like this, and Nigel's not blinking. And also the fact that Chloe beat him that game was kind of like an extra cool thing, because it's like it showed how well she played as well in that game, because
that was a game that was like 460 to 420 or something.
It was,
like
that was a great game.
Right. So you say that for sure the level of play was higher, and I feel like that because of what your results were when you played 8 or 9 years ago. What were your results then?
So in 2010, the first time we played, I think we came in 16th or something.
Okay.
And that's sort of
I meant more.
I know, I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
that lit the fire for the following year to work really hard and really dedicate ourselves, and then we managed to win the next year.
So you are a former school Scrabble, a North American school Scrabble champion, or maybe at the time it was called the National School Scrabble champion.
I think it was called National, and then they're like, wait, it's a Canadian who just won, so
so you changed the name of the event, and you actually went on to appear on Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Yeah, I did.
I should have pulled that clip for tonight. We don't have the rights to show that clip.
I have it on my YouTube channel, so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So, but we probably should have done that. Maybe we should post that anyway, just to the NASPA Scrabble Facebook, because it's
Yeah, that's a
really
good idea.
it's a fun deal.
Yeah, that was. He stopped doing it though. He switched over to
Yes.
spelling. Very disappointed in my buddy.
Well,
Jimmy.
National Spelling Bee. That is. I mean, look. Obviously, it's not Scrabble. Like
Exactly.
we're biased, but National Spelling Bee's pretty big deal. So okay, so that was your experience commentating there, and a little bit about your experience playing, where you were the champion. Let's talk about this year's champions. So let's bring them up on screen. Do you want to introduce them and talk a little bit about their journey?
So on the left is Noah Slatkoff, and on the right is Jeffrey Pogue. They're actually the defending champions. They won last year.
Right, 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. I'm not sure if that's the first time this has happened. I want to say it is.
I feel like Kevin said maybe it had happened before.
So there have been defending champions in the past, but it was like a 5th grade and 8th grade kind of thing. I think this is the first consecutive defense of their title.
I see. Okay,
but again,
gotcha.
don't quote me on that.
All right.
Anyways, I mean, both are tournament players. I know Noah especially because he lives in Ottawa, so he played before.
Well, he played at our Kingston tournament.
He did,
last
yeah,
year.
and he destroyed.
He
19-1.
That's right.
You know what? I was very impressed with their play in the finals. They made like a brilliant endgame play that really showed XIS. It showed like a really deep level of thought there, which was really nice to see.
Very good. Well, congrats to the boys here. Nice job, 2 years in a row, and I think they have another year, right?
At least another year, yeah.
At least another year. Well, there we go. Okay, so and what do you think? Do you think you'll be back next year?
I mean, you know, it's not for me to decide.
Okay.
But I mean, Peter Ramsey, who ran the tournament, was very happy with the stream.
Yeah.
It seemed like one of the most successful parts of the tournament. So we'll see. I mean, there's a whole issue with Hasbro budgeting that we don't need to get into here. If you really want to get into Hasbro budgeting issues, we can talk on Facebook message later.
Very good. And I also think there are some strategies that they can probably push to generate more viewership on the stream.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in anyway, but we can talk about that later on Messenger, as you say.
And also before we're done on this school Scrabble topic, I want to give a shout out to the Toronto, what are they called? Toronto Power Tiles. Jody and Ruth. They've been attending the Toronto club as well. They came 5th, which is a very good, respectable finish. Yeah, I want to give a shout out because they did very well, and they're also repping Toronto. So
beautiful.
Got to give a shout out.
By the way, in the comments, James Max says he's here for Jackson's hair. So do you want to give him a side view? There we go. Very good. It's not quite at the same level.
It's not. No, I need more gel.
Okay, so here's what I want to talk about next. One of the things that I promoted this episode was you have some news about this summer.
I do.
You have some summer plans. Obviously, we're getting into that. We're getting into a range where tournament frequency is really high, kind of through April, May, June. Then we get to nationals. So what's happening between now and nationals? Because I imagine you're playing nationals.
I am playing nationals.
Okay, so what's happening between now and then?
So between now and then, in about a week from now, I'm going to be going out to northwestern Ontario in the bush and working as a tree planter for about 2 months. And this is going to be, I mean, it's a paid job. And it not only is a paid job, but it's paid piecemeal, which means you're paid by tree. Right. So if I don't plant any trees, I don't earn any money.
Well, who counts the trees?
So I think we keep track ourselves, but there's also people watching, so you can't just like throw them in a bush somewhere and walk out.
Who's watching?
You got supervisors.
I see.
But either way, I mean, it's such a good cause. Anyways, I would not want to cheat at this anyways.
Right. Yeah. Well, no,
that's
trees are good
issue,
for the planet and stuff like that. But how long are you going for, did you say?
So it's about 2 months. And there's going to be no internet connection, no cell service. Every 5 days, we're probably going into town somewhere to maybe do laundry or something. And I might get cell service then. But yeah, it's going to be intense. I mean, I've already printed out the whole dictionary on flashcards.
Yes, because you won't have electronic study tools.
So I'm going right from, the plan at least is to go right from planting basically directly to nationals.
Yes.
And from now until nationals, I want to be able to study and prepare for it. So I need to just have paper study cards, and we'll see. I have no idea how much time I'm going to have to study. I might have like hours every day. I might have 0 hours. and we'll see. I mean, you'll see at nationals. If you see me on stream, you will quickly know how much I was able to prepare.
I just brought up some different pictures.
These are not me. Definitely not me.
No, I know they're not you. We'll get some pictures
that will be
after. See, look at all these happy tree planters.
Really happy.
If you're in the comments out there and you're kind of like, yes, you should go tree planting, Jackson, maybe that's the sort of thing you do when you're 21. I can't imagine myself taking 2 months to go tree plant. That doesn't make any sense to me. But more power to you. If you're in the comments and you love this plan, go ahead and throw that into the comment thread. If you're a little more questioning like me, also throw that into the comments. Now, I did a little research on tree planting, so I kind of wanted to get into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I was concerned about this plan. So
you're not the only one. Jason Lee has expressed his concerns many times. He hopes I just quit after a week.
Okay, so this is from the Workplace Safety and Prevention Services. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read sort of some highlights. They talk about what is tree planting. They talk about each year in Canada, 500 million trees are planted. How many million trees do you think you'll plant this summer?
Well, according to our contract, the group of 60 planters that I'm a part of is going to have to plant 2 million trees.
Wow.
Collectively. I don't know how many I'm going to do myself. Hopefully.
Well, 2 million divided by 60 would be?
I don't know, 33,000. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So
Jesus.
So, but I mean, again, hopefully I can even.
But hold on, wait a minute. 33,000. Then we got to divide it by 60 days.
Yeah.
That's 500 trees a day?
Well, more because we're not actually working all of 60 days. We're working more like 50 days. It's a lot of trees per day.
Okay, back to the website here. It says that it's demanding physical work. Do you feel like you're up for the task?
Yeah, so they actually sent us this whole workout routine. The main thing is like having a 40-pound backpack, which is the weight of the tree bags you'll be carrying. Having a 40-pound backpack and doing all these exercises like 40 lunges and like jumping up to like on a ledge, stuff like that.
You've been jumping up on a ledge with a huge backpack?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, okay, I guess stepping up on the ledge and then also jumping up on the ledge without the backpack. So basically doing a lot of things with a 40-pound backpack, which has been great because at first I was actually trying to figure out how to get a 40-pound backpack because it's not as easy as you might think.
Right.
And my backpack straps are broken. So I was like, I can't really just put a bunch of weights in this. But then I discovered in my basement the Uber Eats bag I still have from when I used to work as an Uber Eats driver.
You were an Uber Eats driver?
Very briefly. It's like as a bicyclist. So
okay,
I still have that.
And those are
backpack.
really nice
bags. They're comfortable, they're sturdy because they're meant to be carrying a lot of food.
Absolutely.
And I was so happy when I found this. I just loaded it up with weights and it's been working very well.
Wow.
So anyways, I've been going.
So you may come back from this 2 months like super tan, I would imagine, and buff.
That's
Is that
the idea.
true?
That's the idea. If you don't call me buff already.
All right. Well, maybe with this stream we can do a before and after and see if it's had any effect whatsoever.
This is me right now, and we'll see in a couple months.
Now, here's what this also says. It says that tree planting presents a variety of hazards. Okay. And is often done by young and inexperienced workers. Wow, that's me. So this all sounds very accurate so far to me. And low productivity and injury claims can have an adverse effect on quality in the bottom line. So I guess what they're saying is not everybody comes back from this in one piece, I think is what they're saying. And then here's the second page. This is a list of sort of what all the risks are. So I wanted to go through those. So potential hazards of tree planting include muscular, skeletal, and repetitive strain disorders. Not just like strains, strain disorders. Exposure to the sun and extreme heat or cold.
All right.
Does that sound?
That sounds about right.
Exposure to insects and wildlife.
Yeah.
Like, are there literally going to be any bears around?
Yeah, I mean, it is bear country. You get trained on how to deal with bears. But another factor.
What's the best advice for dealing with a bear?
Well, it depends what type of bear it is. If it's like what we call a brown bear, like a grizzly bear.
Yes.
You play dead.
Okay.
If they attack.
And if it's a polar bear?
I don't know what polar bears. I'm not going to do polar bears.
Okay,
If
black
it's
bear.
a black bear, you make yourself large. You make a lot of sound.
Right.
Oh wait,
And
there's
they
like a
run
good
away.
rhyme about it. It's like if it's brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. It's something like
I've
that.
heard rhymes like that
Yeah.
before, but it wasn't about bears.
Yeah, I know. It sounds bad.
Okay, then this says uneven terrain, which can lead to slips and falls. So do you have good footwear?
I'm going to get some boots pretty soon.
Well, you got a week to go.
I know. That's a lot of time.
You should get them because you'd think that you'd want to break them in or something.
Maybe.
All right.
Steel-toed boots you need.
Then it says incident in motor vehicles that were intended for pavement use. Hold on, I want to take us out of the shot because the end of this sentence is funny. It says incidents in motor vehicles that were intended for pavement use, not rough and remove service.
What
So
is
there's
a remove surface?
I know. I thought it was going to be like rough and ready service, but I don't know what that means. But it means that I guess like somebody's going to be driving an Oldsmobile to get you to the tree planting place. So that's something to watch out for. Lack of proper supervision and training. That sounds about right to me. Working alone.
That's an interesting.
That's one of the hazards.
Is it like the psychological aspect of like being alone all day?
Yeah, I've seen that
Not
movie,
talking
The
to people.
Shining. So I agree that that's possible. And living in close quarters in wilderness bush camps.
So
do you think that's true?
That's where we're going to be living. But what I'm wondering is the danger like the people you're living with just getting?
I don't.
mad?
I have no idea. Communal diseases. I don't know what is possible in a wilderness bush camp.
We'll
All
see.
I'm saying is you probably still have time to back out of this. All right. So consider this an intervention. All right.
Oh man, I was not expecting this.
Okay, so that is what your plan is this summer. Personally, I think it's crazy, but you're bringing your flashcards. I think
Don't worry,
certainly
everybody.
this downgrades your chances to win nationals. Do you think that's fair to say?
Well, I'm not sure. I think it kind of polarizes them. It'll either mean I'm like very prepared or not prepared at all.
How is it that you're going to be more prepared?
Because like I'm not gonna have other things to do when you're done work. Like there's no one like like you have all this time. Like potentially you have a lot of time. There's no
Right.
like hanging out with people. There's no like.
Well, I don't know what the
Oh, I mean,
social scene
sorry,
in a
I mean-
wilderness bush
I mean,
camp
there is
like.
a big social scene because like what else are you gonna do? But it's more like you don't have the same distractions of city life to keep you
Right.
like occupied all the time, and also no phone. Like you wouldn't believe how much like having a phone just distracts you from.
You
doing
also
this.
do not have much light at nights,
well,
right? Because you're not indoors.
that's a whole other thing.
And you won't have Ziziba or Aerolith or, whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess people have relied on flashcards in the past to win. So
Yeah.
I would think this knocks you down a little bit,
It
but
definitely
who
might.
knows?
We'll see.
I could
Yeah.
be wrong.
I have no idea.
And you might, intimidate people more with your buff stature and I imagine giant beard coming out of this
Oh,
summer.
I know. I've been waiting for this beard.
Okay, so that is a recap of your summer plans. Now, what we are going to try to do is when you go to town every few days, right? Like an actual town. I'm not talking colloquially, like go to town. I'm
That'll be every
saying
night.
when you go into town and get internet access, you're probably going to be doing some Facebook updates, right? To let your family know that you're still alive and stuff like that. But also, we're going to try to get you to make some short videos to let the NASPA Tonight audience know how you're doing and specifically how your preparation for nationals is going.
Yes.
Is that true?
That is definitely true. I will throughout the days, I will have a phone, and there are occasionally chargers there that you can use. Like there's a camp and stuff. So I will have access to my phone where I can take videos. And I think throughout the days where I have no internet access, I'll take a few videos updating everyone. Like I solved another alphagram, things are going smoothly, or maybe
Yes.
I planted another 5 trees and my arms hurt. I don't know what they're going to be, but there will be updates every, I think 5 days we're going to town. So I'll send them to you.
Very
Put them
good.
on NASPA Tonight.
That sounds great.
Yeah,
So that's a
great.
reason to tune in this summer. We've had a few people comment on this plan. So Roger Coleman, former guest on the program, says bring lots of bug spray. Makes sense.
Great.
I can't imagine it's going to make a difference. You're out there for 2 months. You might as well just get used to it, I think. Adam Henderson says he loves that plan. Julia Bogle says, quite an awesome experience. Way to go. I mean, these all seem positive. Maybe not Roger. I don't know. James Mack says, bring A535. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like if your muscles get tired,
Oh, really?
I don't know how it works. I don't really use any of my muscles. So, okay. And then Jonathan Lind says, Jackson training for nationals while planting trees reminds me of the Rocky IV training scene with Rocky in Siberia. I think that's a good allegory.
I know, that's how I feel. I want to intimidate my opponents by making them think I've been sort of like hibernating and like just like gearing up for this monster of a tournament.
For sure. Adam Henderson says, I'm training for nationals by eating a lot of ice cream.
That's good.
I think that's
I'll do the same.
That's good. Preston Kilgore wonders whether working alone is really a hazard.
You know, I think we're all wondering that.
That's right. And so anyway, and a few more comments. Adam Henderson literally says, while I'm on the show, Jackson, please don't grow a beard.
I mean, it's okay. I can't. So
anyway, that's
sorry.
Okay. So that's the story of the summer for Jackson fans, is the fact that you're basically going to be incommunicado for 2 months. And we're all going to be crossing our fingers that you come back alive. Okay. Okay. So that is our update from Jackson. I know what I want to talk about. So normally we do a segment where we talk about upcoming tournaments, but I thought what we would do is we would talk about all the great tournaments that you're going to miss out on while you're on this trip. So obviously Niagara Falls, that's gone.
Niagara Falls gone. Too bad.
Montreal
and New York.
And New York. Yeah.
I would probably do Montreal, but either way, they're both great tournaments I'm missing.
Absolutely. What else do we have in that schedule?
Well, Albany. And this is the first Albany tournament without a net, and I'm really sad to be missing that.
That's right. We're going to be doing a memorial there, and we're really trying to anyway, we want to try to do two things with that tournament. One is sort of maintain the family atmosphere that Annette has built up over 20 plus years. But number two, sort of tighten up a few things around the tournament that we think makes sense. Smart.
I will try to send a video before then that hopefully can be included or something.
Beautiful. I love it.
Memorial.
I love it. Okay. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else on the calendar that would be, I might do a mini marathon.
Maybe. Come on, man. You can't leave me out of that.
Okay. So there are obviously lots of great tournaments. As always, I would recommend that our audience go out and play in these events. Support your local directors. They're working hard for your enjoyment. Jackson, I want to thank you for joining me on the show.
It's good to be back. I have missed it.
Oh, good. So you'll be back lots more.
See you next week.
So we'll bring a cat in here. I know you always enjoyed having the cats on the show. So we'll go ahead and we'll play off tonight with Scrabble Cat. So there we go. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for commenting. We'll be back next week. We're planning a really cool show for next week. I want to kind of confirm everything up before I announce what it is, but really, if you're tuned in tonight, you should check it out. And Jackson, thanks for being on the show, and we'll talk to you soon. And good luck this summer, man. I really hope.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I'm sure everything will be great, and we'll catch you another time.
Okay, and thanks everybody for watching. That's going to do it for NASPA Tonight this week. We will see you next week, Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Good night, everybody.